Newt Gingrich is calling the race the desperate last stand of the old order, throwing the kitchen sink, hoping something sticks. Will it? It's Thursday, January 26th, and this is Now. Joining me today, the always sharply dressed Ari Melber of The Nation, also Linda Killian, who is a senior scholar at the Wilson Center and author of the new book, The Swing Vote, New York Daily News columnist S.E. Cupp, and representing Staten Island politicos, Ben White. Thank you guys for joining me. Ahead of tonight's final Florida showdown, there are new signs the primary is in a dead heat. We have been poll crazy here on Now. The new CNN ORC poll shows that Gingrich was leading Romney by 6%, but Romney is up by 9 points as of Monday and Tuesday of this week. What, my panel, do you make of this?
Have you ever seen polls change this quickly?
No.
We have daily polls now that are actually fairly accurate. It's unbelievable. It seems as though, at least in South Carolina it was the case, and it seems as though in Florida, people are looking at what the candidates are saying on a daily basis and weighing in based on ads, based on what they've been saying on the stump, based on new revelations which keep coming out. I mean, these people are paying attention.
Well, but and I would wonder if we think that Mitt Romney's new line of attack, if there's actually some bite there, if that's taking some hits on Gingrich.
The thing to remember in Florida is that 200,000 ballots have already been cast.
Right.
That's right.
So current polls, okay, but a lot of ballots were already cast before South
Certainly,
Carolina.
early voting started last
cast
weekend.
for Mitt Romney, who had the most aggressive early voting campaign, so you probably add a little bit to his poll numbers. And I think, there's two things to say about Newt. One is that he never plays the front-runner role well, and we've seen now 2 or 3 times where he's risen and fallen. And I think part of the reason is that debate was pretty bad for him on Monday, and that he didn't have his cheering section, and he was above the fray, and Romney just went after him like a junkyard dog in a way that...
That's the only time Mitt Romney and junkyard dog have been butted up against
each other. That's true, but
other.
I think he did, and I think he was pretty effective at it, at least in the early portion of the debate. And now you have a orchestrated campaign on the right to go after Newt Gingrich. You see it on the Drudge Report. You see it pretty much everywhere in the conservative media right now. Ann Coulter, anywhere you look, Elliot Abrams is back from the crypt to talk about Newt Gingrich's bashing Ronald Reagan. There's an orchestrated attempt to get Newt Gingrich out of the race, and it's having an impact.
Let's look at some of those conservative headlines of late. Drudge says, Insider, Gingrich repeatedly insulted Reagan, which is an anathema to the Republican Party. Ann Coulter, re-elect Obama, vote Newt. And this is, I think, my favorite. The American Spectator, our Bill Clinton. That is not meant as a compliment.
No, well, there's two strains to this. One is what Coulter and a lot of insider Republicans have been saying, which is the guy's not electable. That should be full stop a problem if you want to defeat Obama, and it's something Alex has spotlighted on the show. But the second piece to this has nothing to do with electability, and that is the guy's not a real conservative, the guy isn't trustworthy, the guy is just a train wreck. Not that he'll lose, but he's a train wreck. We don't want him to win, and that, I think, is what's more devastating, because if you look at the energy in this race, if you go around and say to someone, hey, you got to vote for this guy that you may or may not like, you got to do the electability thing, that reminds people of the Romney argument, it reminds people of the establishment. It is not what they want to hear in Florida, which, by the way, was backing Newt Gingrich in polls from December all the way up to New Hampshire. So it's a very conservative environment down there anyway, and I think you have to go at his character if you want to defeat him, not just electability.
But that's the point. You have to break it down, because the Republican sort of groupology is very mixed. You have Republican establishment Republicans who have to think about strategy. That's electability, what you're talking about.
Right.
Not just White House, but down ballot. Then you have Tea Party conservatives who have to think about credibility. Are you really credible if you elect this Washington insider establishment guy? And then, of course, you have, sort of far-right social conservatives who have no business turning to Newt Gingrich.
The two candidates are so, I think, representative of the cleave in the Republican Party. Politico has a good analysis of the crowds that support Mitt Romney and the crowds that are supporting Newt Gingrich. Mitt Romney's crowds look like something out of the president's suite at a University of football game. Prosperous, trim, tatters all clad, and supportive but not rowdy. Gingrich supporters with their spray-painted signs, American flag tees, flip-flops, and fanny packs. Not saying anything bad about fanny packs. More closely eerily resemble a group that would fit in nicely, playing a few bucks at the dog track.
It's a great piece by my man J Mart in Politico, and I mean it boils down what Newt's appeal is, which is to the NASCAR vote, which is to the Tea Party vote, which Mitt Romney cannot attract.
Why don't you say fanny pack vote?
Whoa.
You don't think he attracts that vote?
As a NASCAR fan and a Tea Party conservative, absolutely not.
What about the fanny pack?
Absolutely no.
What about
no,
the fanny pack?
Let me tell you,
Are they
to a
not?
person, I've traveled the country, and to a person, the response on why you like Newt Gingrich is you want to see him debate Obama. Conservatives are this is a bloodlust. This is entertainment value. And it could mark the demise of the conservative movement if that is what they vote on in November.
And Linda, let's talk a little bit about how Romney, I mean, we talk about Gingrich, and of course we have to talk about Romney in the same breath because they are twinned and their fates are twin. Romney, it strikes me as odd that no matter how long this thing goes on, the guy still has not found his comfort zone in terms of talking about his own wealth, his taxes. Let's listen to him at a Univision debate yesterday, or a forum, sorry.
How much money do you have?
Well, you tell me, and I'll tell you. No, I'm kidding. It's between 150 and about 200 and some odd $1 million. I think that's what the estimates are. And by the way, I didn't inherit that.
$50 million. It's like sometimes you lose track of it.
Well, this is a real problem for the Republicans. And with Romney as their, Newt Gingrich is a rich guy, too. Newt Gingrich made his money lobbying, as Romney pointed out. Newt Gingrich, is an inside Washington guy. The country, the swing voters, the America First Democrats, as I call them, the working class voters, they are hurting. They are in trouble. And they don't understand why someone who's worth $200 million pays half the tax rate that they do. And it's not a question of envy. It's a question of fairness.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why you've seen Ann Romney, in fact, out on the campaign trail, almost excusing her husband's wealth or accounting for it in a way that he doesn't seem to be able to.
I think Linda hit it on the head. And the other thing is people say, oh, Romney's never fully himself. I don't think that's true. When he said the other day, oh, I only, $300,000 in speaking fees, it's not a lot of money. That was him talking. That wasn't a consultant talking. That wasn't a talking point. That was him talking as someone who speaks the language of a super multimillionaire. $300,000, that's a rounding error, right? And that strikes people, and that's before it gets funneled into the commercials and the stuff that the Obama campaign is going to do with it. It strikes people as very out of touch, right? And so there's this idea of, oh, is he Steve Jobs or is he Warren Buffett? I got to say, Warren Buffett, who's worth a lot of money, has always found a way to speak directly and to
Warren Buffett
do
still lives in
philanthropy.
Nebraska and drinks Coke.
Exactly.
And
he's not a man of money. Mitt Romney is a man of money. There's no question about it. And he can, say that he didn't inherit money, but he came from money. He has a ton of money. He's never known a life without a lot of money. And that's the problem for conservatives. If they destroy Gingrich, what do they wind up with?
But money has been an uncomfortable thing for Mitt Romney from
It's incredibly uncomfortable for him to talk about, and he's never going to find a comfort zone to talk about it because he doesn't have one.
But it's remarkable that a guy who has paid his taxes completely legally and done everything legal has been unable to defend himself on this issue. 6 years into his campaign, has not come up with
you're seeing Newt Gingrich hit him over and over and over again. We have,
which is
yesterday talking about the Cayman Islands, but talking about the Cayman Islands, the Swiss bank accounts. Right. Even this is the old guard trying to take me down. I'm the insurgent. I mean, just finding Mitt Romney's weak spots and going for them.
He's the insurgent. He's the insurgent with the $500,000 revolving charge count at Tiffany's. He's the insurgent.
And who lives in the plane?
Yes.
The outsider.
So he's the real man of the people.
He just wants to go and study history and make a couple $1 million.
He's just a kid with a dream.
He is.